Hey guys, welcome to BabyDoll's Happy Hour. I'm so excited to come talk to you guys today. I have some exciting things to talk about. How is everyone? We're just waiting on Instagram to get up and running. How is everybody? Hi, welcome to BabyDoll's Happy Hour. How's everybody doing? Are you blowing away in this wind? I'm thirsty hole. I have been running, running solid for months. It's very exciting though. It's very exciting and I'm very happy. So, our topic today is fear and faith. So, there's a couple of things that you probably have heard before. And one is sometimes people say fear and faith can't live in the same body. Or what was the other one? Fear and faith don't work together. It'll come to me. But listen, I know some people, and I'm sure I've done this before, but I know some people, and you might recognize this pattern, and it feels like every other word that they say is, I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid. I just worry. I just worry. I'm just afraid. I just worry. I'm just concerned. Do you know people like that? I know some people like that, and I have definitely been like that. But we can't function in our lives in fear and win. We can't have fear and success. We can't have fear and faith both happening at the same time because the Bible talks about being double minded, and we can't be doing two things at once. I mean, you can love more than one person, but you can't function under both emotions of fear and faith. Okay, so let's look at some scriptures. God gives us the word fear in the Bible 365 times. Did you know that? The word fear in the Bible is 365. Wow, ironically, there's 365 days in the year. And when we function under fear, there is a book. Let's look at this. Joyce Meyer has a book that's called Do It Afraid. Do It Afraid. Like, if you're functioning under fear, this is tricky. How do I explain this? If the fear is stopping you from anything, then it's not helping you. Doing it afraid is like, I'm going to jump off this diving board, I'm going to jump off this cliff, and I'm just going to believe and have faith that I'm going to land in the pool or God's going to carry me. Because, oh man, just recently, so here's the story. Just recently, I got really brave and really bold. So I want to tell you the story about how did I do that? How did I just decide to jump and that God was going to be there? Because God really just needs our yes. And then he's going to figure out how to work everything out. We just have to have the discerning voice to know that it's God. And so for the most part, the Bible tells us, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. God is the creator of the world. He created the heavens, he created the oceans, he created the earth, he formed the planets, he created man, he created the animals. You get it, right? God created everything. And so we are created in his image, and we were not created to live in fear. The fear is lies from the enemy. false evidence appearing real. Hey, Anne, it's so good to see you. False evidence appearing real. So we are hearing this message, or we look out into our world, our own little world, and we see something and it evokes fear into our life. Okay? So then we have a spirit of fear on us. And the Bible tells us in Timothy that I did not create you to live in fear, but to have power and love and a sound mind. And do not be afraid is in the Bible. I think that's in the Bible 365 times. Do not be afraid. So when you are functioning in the element of fear, it is going to work against you. And so now all of the things that you think and say, that is what's going to happen. You're right. Because as a man thinks, so it is. That's also in the Bible. As a man thinks, so it is. And so when you're hearing fear and your thoughts are fearful, now your words are fearful, your actions are fearful, and now you've created this entire universe that you live in that is all based on fear and fear alone. Does that make sense? So, how do we get rid of that? Read the Bible and pray is number one. Listen to Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 46:10. It says clearly God is going to be there. He's going to strengthen you and he's going to uphold you with his right hand. Okay, and so for 2 Timothy 1:7, I did not learn of this verse until I was in the treatment center. And my first thought was, where has this been all of my life? Because I lived with way too much fear. I lived with way too much fear, and I was trying to be a people pleaser. I was hugely codependent, and I based my validation on how things were working out for other people. So I was a people pleaser, and I was putting all my value and all my validation based on how the lives were for my children, or how my parents were going to perceive me, or how my extended family was going to perceive me. Now, it may not look like that because I walked through pure hell. I walked through a whole mess, and half of it I started all by myself. But it stemmed from an underlying fear. So when I got to the treatment center, one of the counselors said, "You were just out there trying to be Wonder Woman and fell flat on your face." Yes, I was trying to be all things to all people. And guess what? You can't. So guess what that means? If we can't be people pleasers and we can't be codependent and have people purely relying on us for their happiness, or us relying on them and what's going on in their world for our happiness, then what are we to do? So this is where it gets all mixed up and turned around. So for 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear. God did not give you a spirit of fear. If you are afraid, you are living with fear, which means you are not trusting God. Period. The end. You're not trusting God. Because Isaiah 46:10 says, do not fear. I am with you. God is with you even when we mess up, even when we make mistakes, even when we're dying in the hospital of pancreatitis, even when our husband beat the you know what out of us, even when we're the ones who filed for divorce. He is still with you. Now we run and hide from God in shame. Hey, Sheila. Thanks for being on today, you guys. I need to look at one thing real quick. See who's over here. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. So, do not fear, for I am with you. God doesn't leave you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Would you agree with me that God is the Alpha and the Omega? Would you agree with me that God created the universe? Would you agree with me that God created the heavens, the skies, the seas, the animals, and He also created you? And can you walk with me and believe with me that you are God's masterpiece created for good works? So I say again, Isaiah 46:10, so do not fear. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will strengthen you. I will make you strong enough to do the task at hand, and I will uphold you with my right hand. So, back to 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power. You have a spirit of power. You and you and you and you and you and you and you, all of you. You have a spirit of power. He will strengthen you. He is with you. You have a spirit of power and love and a sound mind. You were given a sound mind. I don't care what the diagnosis was from what doctor. I don't care what the family says about you and your mind. God gave you a sound mind, power, fear, strength, and He will uphold you and He will never leave you. Psalm 56, 3 through 4. When I am afraid, put my trust in you. I put my trust in you. So, what does this tell you? If we are living with faith, then we are not living in fear. Psalm 46, 3 through 4. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. I put my trust in you. Everybody just say that right now. If you're sitting in your car, if you're sitting at lunch, if you're sitting at your desk at work, just say, I put my trust in you. I put my trust in you, Father. I put my trust in you. Because that is all you really need to do. That is where faith comes from. Faith is when you don't see what you want and things don't look like they're going your way. For example, I used to picture myself on the back of this bus, and God's driving the bus, and He's taking me around in my life, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm thinking, what in the world is going on here, God? You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know where you're going. Where are you going? Where are you taking me? So life can feel that way sometimes, right? Life can feel that way, like God is driving the bus. I'm at the back of the bus. He doesn't know what I want. He doesn't know what I need. And He's driving me around the town lost. So it can feel that way. So we need to identify the source. Be specific. What are you afraid of? So in that visual image, I'm looking out the window thinking God doesn't know what I want. He doesn't know what I need. He's taken me on the wrong route. So it makes me want to stomp down the middle of the bus, angry, and elbow him, kick him out of the bus, and let me drive this bus. But here's the deal. We want to put our faith and our trust in Him because He actually knows what's best for us. So when things don't look like they're going your way, it might be to protect you. It probably is to protect you. It probably means that He has something better planned for you. Or maybe He's trying to include some other people. So, what's the first thing we need to do? Recognize the fear. Recognize the fear and then ask the question, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? What are you afraid of? Another thing we can do is journaling, getting those thoughts out of our mind, or talking with someone that we trust and admire and we respect. We know that they have our best interest at mind. We sometimes need to get that out of our head because here's something kind of silly that I say to my husband sometimes. Can you just listen to me for a second? Because I need to get this out of my head so that these thoughts in my head don't invite a bunch of friends and have a party with this crazy thinking up there. God gave us a sound mind. God gave us a sound mind. So if we've got crazy thoughts in our head, they don't belong there. Now, don't say them to the wrong person because, they might think you're crazy. Hey, Cece. Hey, Cheyenne and Ashley. Thanks for joining me today. So you got to talk to someone that, you trust. And they've got your back. Like Cece, Spencer, I know she's got my back. My friend Danielle, I know she's got my back. You've got to have people in your life that they got your back, and you can share these crazy thoughts and these crazy ideas with people that you love and that you trust, okay? But we don't want to share them with people we don't know or that don't know us very well because they might think we're crazy. But we are not crazy. Friend, you are not crazy. You might have some crazy thoughts. So where did that crazy thought come from? Why are we living in fear? What's the reason? So we need to find out what's the source of the fear. And if you don't have someone you can talk about it with, talk to God about it. Go in your car, find somewhere quiet, or go in your room or your closet or your office or wherever you can get alone, even in the bathroom, and talk to God about it. And ask, is this from you? Because I don't think you would talk to me that way. Where has all this crazy thinking come from? Where are these fears coming from? Is it because I really just love this person and I don't want to see them go through pain and I'm just afraid of the results? We can't own everything for everybody. That's codependent. We can't own the result of what goes on in someone else's life. That is a false security of control. That is what that is control issues. And when you think you can control other people, guess what? You're wrong. I'm sorry to pop your balloon, but guess what? You're wrong. You cannot control people. Okay, is everybody okay? Did you pick yourself up off the floor knowing that you can't control other people? You can't control your husband. You can't control your sister. You can't control your parents. You can't control your children. You can't control your boss. You can't control the people at work. You actually can't control anyone. And did you know that God did not create us to be controlled? God doesn't even control us. God, the creator of the world, does not even control us. He gave us free will. We can't make people love us. We can't make people get sober. And we can't make people get sober the way we want them to get sober. This is something that I happen into frequently with family to the people that are getting sober. Their way of getting sober probably is not the way you want them to get sober. Yes, you're smart. Yes, you have your own businesses. Yes, you're the mother. Yes, you're older. Yes, you're the parent. Yes, you're the father. Yes, you're the spouse. Yes, you know them longer. Whatever the thing is that you're justifying it, you can't control the way they're going to choose to get sober. This is a very good example and a very personal example. And, I'm just trying to be vulnerable and talk about a realistic topic that comes straight from my world. We cannot control what other people do or say or think. But the good news is they cannot control what we do or think or say. So now let's go back to that original question. Why am I having fear? What am I afraid of? And where is this coming from? Because I think there's a lot, especially women, maybe men too, but especially women, we have the voice of our mother in our mind. It's in our head. Like we have the voice of other people in our head. We have the voice of God, the voice of the enemy, and ourselves. Like we have our own thoughts. And we're going to spend the rest of our life trying to get control of our flesh and the thoughts of the enemy. And putting a stop to the voices that are in our head. That's mom, dad, my ex-husband, or whoever it is. Because just because the thought is in your mind doesn't make it true, doesn't make it factual, doesn't make it proof of anything. So we have to discern these things. And so the first thing again was, why am I so afraid? What am I afraid of? And the second thing is, where is this coming from? Because I know God wouldn't say that to me. I know God wouldn't say that to me. God says I am his masterpiece created for good works, that I was created in his image, and he doesn't control people, and people don't control God. And I was created to be like that, so other people actually can't control me. And so I'm not going to allow them to control me with their thoughts, their opinions, their actions, their threats. It's all up here, you guys, because God says, do not fear. God says, do not fear, do not be dismayed, for I am your God, and I will strengthen you, and I will uphold your right hand. I will uphold you with my right hand, with my righteous hand. I will put you in the places where you belong. That's how I take that to mean. So, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of that? And where is it coming from? So we can learn to put the kibosh on the thoughts in our mind, because we are not crazy. Do the voices of the enemy come into our mind? Yes. Do the spirit of fear thoughts come into our mind from our mother was that way, my grandmother was that way, my aunts are that way, my sisters are that way, on and on and on and on. You get the picture, right? But that doesn't make it true. And it doesn't make it healthy. So we recognize the fear. Look at what are we afraid of? Why are we afraid of it? Where does it come from? And then we got to learn how to change it. So talk with someone, talk with God, talk with a friend, or write about it. Journal it. I did this one time at the treatment center, and I wrote down all the things I was afraid of. And then so I wrote down, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of this. One of them was losing my job if I lost my husband. And then I wrote down what's the worst thing that could happen. I wrote down the worst thing that could happen. Okay, if this happens, if A happens to me, then this would happen. So write down the fears, ABC, and the things that will happen. 1, 2, 3. ABC, 1, 2, 3. What am I afraid of? What's going to happen? And then I looked at that paper and I literally started cracking up laughing in my room by myself, because I thought that was the silliest thing for me to be afraid of. I would just go get another job. I'm afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid of losing my husband. You'll get another one. You can find another one. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Now, don't throw your marriage away. And don't say, BabyDoll said I could throw my marriage away. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't twist my words around. But ask yourself, is this rational? Or am I exaggerating the threat? So that's what I mean by it when I say to Darren, can I just talk to you about this for a second, because I got to get this out of my mind so that these thoughts don't have a big party and invite a bunch of friends, and then it grows and now it's become exaggerated and now it's blown completely out of proportion. And then when you get two women together and they both come into agreement with the fear, Beth Moore one time said, it only takes two women to take down an entire church. Do you know why she says that? Because when two people come into agreement with the enemy, guess who's in charge now? The enemy. Now those two people have just aligned with the enemy and the fear. And now that fear is going to progress and permeate throughout a church, throughout a business, throughout your company, throughout the neighborhood, throughout your family, because you just came into agreement with it. So is this rational or is this exaggerated? So don't let things grow out of proportion. And if you're talking to the wrong person, then that fear is going to grow. So reframe your perspective. I love reframing. See the fear as a challenge and not a threat. Focus on your growth. Understand that, excuse me, understanding that facing fear often leads to personal development. Face the fear. Face the fear. Okay, do it afraid. That goes back to Joyce Meyer's book, Do It Afraid. Shift your mindset. Instead of asking what could go wrong, what could go right? Okay, it's totally okay to do your Ben Franklin and draw. I do this all the time, by the way. I draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper, and what's the best case, worst case? What's the best case, worst case? What happens if I do it? What happens if I say no? What happens if I say yes? What happens if I say no? And weigh out the risk. Look at it like math. Look at it like statistic and weigh out the risk. So what is going to go wrong? We have a natural human nature, part of our personality that tends to see what is wrong with a situation. Okay, for example, just in the last 2 weeks, I've had two different people tell me that I had a spelling error, one in my introduction to me and Tomahawk Homes, and one with my invitation to our very first fundraiser. Do I appreciate those people pointed that out? Sure. Thank you for correcting me and making me better. Okay. One of them was actually misspelled. The other one wasn't. But the point is, we are trained to find what is wrong with everything. Even back when you were a little kid and Sesame Street was on, they had a little song they sang. One of these things is not like the other one. One of these things just isn't the same. Remember that? And so we have spell check and we have all these things that we go through in our life to find what is wrong. You know what? It's not difficult to find what is wrong with something. But what is right? What is right with it? Is your brain trained only to find what is wrong with something and only to see the fear? Do you actually need to practice having faith? Probably. I think we all could use our faith muscle. When we haven't been using our faith muscle and we haven't been functioning in, hey Shannon, I love it when you're on. That's my big sister. If you haven't been functioning with your faith muscle in a while, then you probably need to work out your faith muscle. And that is when things don't look like they're going to be okay, but you are trusting and putting your full trust and faith in God that it's going to be okay, because Isaiah 46:10, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed. I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So I would take a guess that everybody on here, whether you're listening right now or listening later, you all could use some practice exercising your faith muscle, because people tend to function in fear a lot. So take the fear as a challenge, not a threat. Focus on your growth. Understanding facing fear leads to personal development. Shift your mindset. Instead of asking what can go wrong, ask, but what could go right? But what if I did face the fear? But what if I did take a risk? Y'all, I've started 2 companies in the last year, and one of them just in the last month and a half, and filed for a nonprofit. Things I wanted to do for a very long time, and I just decided, what's the worst thing that could happen? I have to close them? And I am not going to plan for that. I am going to plan and live in faith and full trust, knowing that God put me here for this. This is my gifting. This is my assignment. And this is led by Him. because He created us to be a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. You are created for great works. It doesn't say average works. It never says anywhere in the Bible you were created to be average or live in an average home or live in an average life or an average marriage or be the average mother or have the average job. It doesn't say that anywhere. It says we are God's masterpiece and that we are created for good works. I'm going to look that up. Find the scripture, we are God's masterpiece. Where is it, you guys? Ephesians 2:10. Ephesians 2:10. Thank goodness for Google. For we are God's masterpiece. He created us anew in Christ so we can do the things He planned for us long ago. So we can do the things He planned for us. You know, my big sister Shannon, she is an amazing artist. She's super creative. When you're a creative person, you are the most like God when you are creating. We are created in His image. You were created to create. This is why I think that mothers are so close to God. And so many times the woman has the nurturing spirit and the Spirit of God and understands God sometimes before the men get it. Because we create things. We create a home. You give us a house, we create a home. You give us some food, we create a meal. You give us the ingredients and we will make cookies. Not everybody bakes cookies. Now don't spin this in the wrong direction. But when you are a creative, you must have your creative outlet. And I wanted to tell you, Shannon, that watching you with your art was inspiring and motivating for me to do what I'm doing. I wanted you to know that. So listen, Ephesians 2:10, we are God's masterpiece. And He created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. Right? So now what else? Let's go back to my notes. Okay, so we need to learn to relax. Deep breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and exhale for 8. There's lots of different versions on breathing techniques. Pick one and practice that. Just breathe in, 4, hold it for 7, and breathe out for 8. Meditation and mindfulness keeps you grounded and present in the moment. Why do we want to stay grounded and present in the moment? Because when we have anxiety, we're worried about the future. When we're depressed, we're living in the past. So we want to live in the moment and remind ourselves. So this is something that I had to do because I had PTSD from my second husband. And I had to learn to tell myself, today I am with Darren. Today I am in this house, and describe the room or describe your life. So that is learning to be present and practicing mindfulness and meditating on living in the present moment. Okay. Also, physical activity, exercise can release the tension and anxiety. When I work out, my shoulders are relaxed. When I don't work out, my shoulders are very tense from right here at the top of my shoulder bone all the way up to the bottom of my neck on both sides. So when you, even just walking, Pilates, yoga, ride a bike, you pick the exercise, but that will help you to reduce your anxiety. And take small steps. You know, humble beginnings are beautiful. You don't want to try to eat the elephant all in one. I am the worst at doing this. I was up till 2 in the morning the other night looking for more homes and trying to figure out how I can put more women in the sober homes faster because the need is so huge. But I had to slow down. And this week the fence blew down. And this week some different things were funky. You know, like they had my billing wrong on my AT&T billing for my Wi-Fi for that house. And so we need to take our time and do things so there everything has a solid foundation before we invite the elephant in so he doesn't fall through the floor, right? So be encouraged by humble beginnings and starting small and just do one thing, one piece at a time, manageable tasks, and take action because even the tiniest step forward, you're going to feel better. Just do one tiny thing on your list. You can pick the biggest, worst thing. Like, oh, sometimes I go the opposite. Like, I hate this task right here, so I'm going to do it first and get it off the list. So then I can relax and I can do the rest of my things today and enjoy my coffee. That's an example. So take action because now you will feel less depressed and less anxious, both because you did something. And celebrate your progress and recognize your wins. Okay, so I have disappointing news because I was planning to go on Friday to the World Trade Center at Dallas and go to market, and I didn't have the right documentation. So I wasn't able to get in that day, and I was so disappointed. But I am still going to go when I get my proper documentation, and I will still be able to do that. But that's okay because I have victory. I got the nicest message from one of the mothers of one of the girls in my home last night. And you know what? It makes every problem go away. She's so loving and kind, and this girl just comes from the best family. And it's just so, I just appreciate grateful people, you know? I just appreciate people that are just kind and grateful. It was so beautiful. So recognize the victories. I still need one more girl in our house, but we have three and they're all sober and they're all working and they're all doing great. So celebrate. We celebrate. We get cookies sometimes, we get cupcakes. Last night we had a pizza. You know, don't feed them every day. I wish I could. But celebrate your little victories. And you got to have a support group that is very encouraging. You know, sometimes it is your friends and family, and sometimes it isn't. But find a support group that is really encouraging. And you need a mentor, someone who's been through this before. So mine is straight up Real Talk Kim, and she is guiding me so well through this whole process. And use visualizations and affirmations. Visualize your success. You know how they used to talk about there was a basketball team that would sit and imagine the shots going through the hoop. And I want to say they did it for an hour a week. Was it an hour a day? Was it an hour a week? Was it Duke? Somebody might know the information, but I can't remember the details, but it actually works. Picture yourself in the moment having success. It totally works. Don't spend your time visualizing the failure. Visualize the success. Visualize the picture of winning and the victory. Look at yourself. What does victory look like to you? Is it with your arms raised on a stage? Is it with all the people in the home that I'm helping, all with their arms around me? Is it watching the other girls walk a stage in victory with their sobriety with 6 months and 12 months and 10 years? What does the picture of success look like? When you were writing that paper, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. What's the worst thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? You need another column. What's the best thing that could happen if you take the risk? Okay, so I'm going to stop there today because I've done too many different points. I hope this was powerful and impactful and helpful for you today. Fear and faith can't live in the same body, okay, guys? You can face the fear. Now go in faith beyond the fear, and you will have great success. So let me just pray for y'all and we'll be done. Heavenly Father, Holy Spirit, precious Jesus, I just ask that you reach every person that is feeling afraid today, afraid to start that business, afraid to go to the interview for that next job, afraid to purchase that new house, afraid to get married, afraid to love again, afraid to talk to someone because of something that happened in the past. I ask you to remove the spirit of fear because your word says that you did not give us a spirit of fear, but you gave us a sound mind and the power of, and you gave us power, a spirit of power and love and a sound mind. And you are with us, and we shouldn't be afraid. So just encourage everybody listening today to go for it. Don't be afraid. God is your protector. God is your provider, and He created you for a great works. I love you. Thanks for joining me today. Please share this on your pages. Share this with people you love that you know. You know that person that sits around and says, "Well, I'm just so afraid. I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid. I just worry. I just worry." Those people, send it to them. Send it today. I love you. Bye.